This is Beach Talk Radio.
Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. This is your captain speaking, Mean Gene. Mean Gene. The following will be a test of the ship's whistle, the sonar alarm, the cable alarm, and the atomic attack alarm.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Broadcasting live 100 feet from the Gulf of America. Here are your award-winning social media superstars.
somebody push the camera
the
down.
hosts of Beach Talk Radio, Kim and Ed Ryan.
Yeah. Welcome to Wahoo Willie's, the greatest country in the world, and gold medal winning hockey Americans. Here, turn the mics on.
Shut up.
There you go. Can everybody hear okay? All right.
Slide your thing down.
Yeah. You got to
Well,
make sure your mic is
oh,
on.
no. He's got a different mic.
Yeah. Give him
You
yours.
do
Give him
it.
yours.
It's not on. Rookie. Oh, yeah. Play it.
Okay.
All right. Are we?
Hey, you got to do
There
it.
we
You
go.
got to
do it.
man.
Do it.
Somebody just said they're going to pay $100 to play Freebird. Where are you going to pay $100?
They're going to play
All right.
it down there. They're playing it down
Freebird.
Yeah,
All
you
right.
hear it on over there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we can't play Freebird on the show because it would kick us off to Facebook. We're all crooked here. I don't know where Donia went. We need her help with the camera. It's all crooked. So it was mayhem here a little while ago. As you saw, the Canadians totally dominated the Americans for that entire game.
It was a heck of a game, that's for sure.
But when you play 3-on-3, anything can happen. And the crazy thing, I'm sure you were all watching it at home, was that it looked to the crowd here like the puck went it went up into the crowd. Nobody reacted to the goal when it first went in until we saw the Americans celebrating.
Yeah, everybody. It was a delayed response. There was a lot of arms up in the air here, and then all of a sudden you see him jumping over the bench, and then the place erupted. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, very cool.
How cool is that? That the Hughes brothers score the overtime goals to get this game, and then to win the game. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and before we get rolling here, I want to make sure if you're watching on Facebook and YouTube that you can hear okay. I want to make sure everything's connected. The camera broke. Everything was crazy. So congratulations to the Americans. And that was the first United States hockey team a gold medal win since 1980. And you saw Michael Ruzioni. He was in between, I think, the third period in overtime or second, third period. He was on the 1980 team. But when they say it was 46 years ago, I mean, you feel like, holy crap, are we getting old? Like, you feel like that wasn't 46 years ago.
Yeah, it's hard to believe.
Can you fix the camera for us? It's kind of crooked. Dan is like, he looks like he's about ready to fall off the teeter-totter.
No, listen.
Yeah.
Listen, she doesn't have to.
Perfect.
We
there you go.
We
Perfect.
are top golf winners. We don't have to do anything.
Oh, man. So I don't
much
even know.
fun the other
I
night.
don't know how to
at Top
brag
Golf.
about that. The talent pool we had out there was not that
I don't
great.
know.
Thank you,
Mike
Julie.
is pretty
Thank
good
you all.
talent. I think. How many points did you get? You were crushing it out there.
I think the highest I got was like 260, something like that.
No way. I had 520. There's no
Well,
way.
you were playing a different game than us.
Oh.
Anyway, what they're talking about is we have a fundraiser every year
Sure.
for Keep Lee County Beautiful that we sponsor, and we invite some folks out to Topgolf. You know, the most interesting part about doing an event at Topgolf is trying to see people that live on the beach actually try and get off the beach, because they don't ever do that. It takes them like 90 minutes to get off the beach to come down to Topgolf.
Yeah, it
It
was like
takes
an hour
us
and
4
45
minutes to
minutes.
get there from our house.
We do appreciate everybody coming out and participating in that event. It was a lot of fun. You couldn't do anything because
Oh,
your
my
back.
sciatica,
Boy,
yeah.
you are on injured reserve
This
for
was
everything.
This was the worst week ever of the pain. Like when we did our Friday night Cape Coral show, I swear it was like a 90-minute ride getting home. It was so painful getting home from that show. But
I offered to take him to the emergency room, but he refused, and he still has yet to go to the doctor.
we
So
have the sciatica machine, whatever that machine is called, that I spent a lot of money on.
it's
all
an
the parts,
inversion table.
all the parts are all over the countertop and all over in the kitchen. And I'm like, wow, this is going to take a while to assemble. It's like 50 different parts and screws and the whole thing. And
so who's going to end up being?
Isn't there
hired to
somebody
come
you
and
can
actually
call to put that thing together? I
your
expected it.
Your wife probably could do it.
It'll be me.
Yeah. So
It'll be me.
what do you want to talk about today? I'm trying to get my heart rate down after all of that. It's like we can't start the show at 9:30. We started talking about we can't start the show at 10 o'clock if it's 1-0.
We'd be skewered.
Hey, Howie.
Howie's here. So let's talk about. Yes, sir. Yes. Oh, okay. The Triple Deuces cooked the shrimp for the Shrimp Festival. All right. So the shrimp festival, I think, is March. Is it March 7th?
8th.
So that's coming up in like 2 weeks. The shrimp festival. Yeah, and you wait until now before you start talking to us, Howie. Yes, we won the gold. Before the game started, we did like a survey to see how many people were rooting for Canada, and it was like there was one person here from Canada. So, oh man,
yeah,
the only
really good teams.
That was a lot of NHL players there. But so Dan, let's talk about some beach issues.
Okay.
The first thing is when I do want to kind of touch.
I almost forgot how long Freebird was.
Yeah, let's go. Who did they give the $100 to play
I don't
that?
know, it's like $1 a minute.
Oh, I see. So, you guys, we have a new council member, John McLean.
Yeah,
is a new council member, and there was a big crowd for the council meeting when you guys did the vote last week. The new procedure you guys put in place was perfect. You got them up there talking for 5 minutes about their resume and how much they want to be on the council, and then you voted for it.
Well, the questions that was great too.
Yeah, the question and answer was interesting, and there was a little bit of a battle royal between Tom and John for obvious reasons. I think John is still upset about the recall, and Tom was part of the recall. He came in second place, not part of the recall, but he came in second place. But then you make the vote, and it was like smooth as silk during the vote until it wasn't. And it was it was an odd situation, uncomfortable situation that, didn't take long to rectify. But what was going through your mind through that whole thing?
Well, the exchange between Councilor King and Tom Brady was, there's no love lost there, obviously you saw, and it was uncomfortable. But it's hard when you're interviewing for a job, essentially, and one of the people you're going to be working with, and you're going back and forth. But we moved on from that. I think everybody was a little, I don't want to say shocked, but surprised at the way the initial vote turned out. But, we went forward through the process, and, at the end of the day, we're just glad that we have another council member on there and we can move forward, because I know it was very important to staff. And it's very important for us, too, to make sure we have a full council as we come into budget season and to get things moving the way we need to get them moving. So we welcome John. I think he's going to be great. All three candidates, as I've said all along, have been really, really good. And I had them ranked all really close. It's just we had three really good candidates, so we couldn't lose with any of them.
Yeah, and I think John McLean and Tom Brady have both announced that they are going to run for that spot in November, because this appointed position is only until November when they have to run. Jim said something during the meeting that if he had to qualify, do you remember what he said? Would he? Well, did he say he was going to run?
Basically, he said if he had to qualify, if the qualifying was today, or he would file. So, to me, it sounded like he was going to run, but that was based on now. So I don't know what Jim's plans are going forward.
Yeah, and for the last two times that there was an open spot, you voted for Jim first. Why?
Because I thought he had, for the same reason. I thought Jim had a great interview, at least answering the questions, and just based on his background and his experience. And if you watch both he and John on the LPA, they both are very thorough. They both are very calculated in asking their questions and doing their research, and both are very well prepared. So, based on his experience, is why I voted for him first, or voted for him both times.
And then you changed.
I did. I did. Like I said, I had all three of them very, very close. And last thing I wanted to see was was us go into another situation like we had when Scott got appointed, where, you know, I don't know that I can't speak for the other council members if they would have changed their vote or not. But I mean, all three of them were so close to me. I would have been happy with any of them. And in the spirit of moving things along, I thought it was important that we, and I talked to Jim and I've talked to John. I haven't had a chance to talk to Tom yet, but I think we made the decision and we move on.
If they had stuck with the original vote, you would not have had to change your vote, right?
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So the other thing I wanted,
and I
go ahead.
I didn't have to change my vote. I chose to change.
No.
my vote.
Right, you guys could have tried to lobby each other, but I think you saw you wanted. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it felt like you wanted to see if Jim was going to get any other votes, and if Jim didn't get any other votes, you know, John was going to get the votes, and that was John King was not moving off of John McLean.
Well, that's for Councilor King to answer. I don't know, but you know, I don't know if people would move off their votes or not. I voted for who I thought was the best person.
I don't think
at the time.
Rebecca was going to move off her vote.
Which was what? Who did she vote for?
Well,
wait, the first time or the second time? Sorry, I don't mean to be
second
like that.
But again,
You should have. I was sitting in the front row. I mean, I mean, listen, I love this stuff. Obviously, I love to poke the bear, but I'm sitting in the front row, and all of her people, the recall people, are right behind me, and you could hear them all moan and groan when she voted for John, and it was like she wasn't paying attention to the meeting because she had her phone. Like, we're watching the video now, and she's looking at her phone, and then when the attorney went around and said, "Is this your vote? Is this your vote?" She said yes. And then all of a sudden she said no. It was like, did somebody text her? And like, one of the things that Bill Veach got on people for back in the day was people having their phones on the dais. And so it was peculiar for me to look and see that she's looking at her phone. Maybe she wasn't looking at her phone. Maybe she was, I don't know what she was doing, but she surely wasn't paying attention to the vote because she voted for John and then she confirmed it. And her signature is on the actual ballot, not the ballot I made up, the fake ballot. That's the one I made up. But the real ballot had her signature on the bottom. And it was like you guys put the perfect scenario for the whole thing in place. And you could have made it any easier. And I felt bad for Nancy, your attorney, because she was like, I mean, she basically, I felt like she worked on that to make it perfect. And then it was until it wasn't. And you don't need to respond to any of that if you don't want to.
No, I mean, I sit next to Rebecca, so you know she always has a lot of paperwork up there. She does her homework. You know, I can't speak for what happened with her. That's for her to decide. But at the end of the day, the decision was made, and we got a full council.
Yeah.
Right?
well, and kudos to you because there was some conversation between you and her up there, and you were like, let's put this out there. You know.
Yeah.
I asked her to make sure that she stated to me so that people could hear what she said.
I'm glad Greg hung on after the hockey game. But Greg says, unfortunately, you all voted for the exact opposite of what your electorate wanted. So let me set the table before you answer that.
Yeah.
That's your new thing now.
You've
never set the table in our house in your life,
because
but every weekend you're setting the table in a conversation now.
Because this appointed position had nothing to do with the recall. The appointed Jim Adderholt was not recalled. John King and Karen Woodson were recalled, and if not for technicality, John wouldn't be there. Jim Adderholt was not recalled. This had nothing to do with the recall, so there was no obligation for the current town council to vote for Tom Brady. He was a good candidate. I thought, I've said it 100 times. Tom's three of them were great candidates. And I actually thought Tom's presentation was the best out of the three because he was deep into the weeds of a lot of stuff. Now, maybe he has more time than the others, but I just felt like he knew the budget stuff. And I did think that confrontation with John might have hurt him a bit. I mean, nobody's ever said anything specifically, but Jim Adderholt was not recalled. It had nothing to do with that. And so that's all I wanted to clear up on that part of it.
Yeah,
you didn't owe them Tom Brady's vote.
Yeah, I think Tom did a great job in the 2 hours or so I've spent with Tom talking to him about, him wanting to be on the council. We had a great conversation. He and I share a lot of the same views, a lot of the same points. And if you've ever paid attention to Tom, when he's come up and talked at the council meeting, he's always very prepared. He's very knowledgeable. He does his homework. Yeah. And as I said, all three of them, I think, were very, very close. To your point, Tom was part of the recall. Did he get the most votes in the recall vote? Yes. But
second most votes.
Second most votes. I'm sorry. But has that come to finality yet? It hasn't. And to your point, this point was for Jim Adderholt's seat, not for John King's seat. So to me, they're two separate things. I know the electorate thinks that we didn't listen to them, and that's 100% not true. The electorate, it could be tomorrow, it could be the next day that the judge makes a decision, and Tom Brady could be in John King's seat. We don't know the outcome of this yet. It's still going through the litigation process or going through the legal process. So, we had to make the decision based on the information we had in front of us, based on the process that was put in place, and John McClain is now our new council member. Tomorrow it could be Tom Brady. It could be this week. It could be next week.
In November, it could
nowhere.
be something different. We'll see what happens in November when everybody gets to vote.
We could potentially have 3 new council members come November. We don't know.
Yeah, and
that's important that people know that. I've seen a lot of conversations going back and forth that it's only 2. There's actually 3 seats coming up in November.
I've always said 3.
Well, there's people that think it's only 2, and it's not the case.
Yeah, it's
Rebecca's seats, Rebecca's, and John McClain's.
Yeah, and Tom Brady will be elected in November. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I don't see how he's not elected. He's been out there. He was second in the recall. Honestly, I can't believe he didn't come in first in the recall. I can't believe he lost the recall by 7 votes. I'm totally baffled by that. But I don't see why he wouldn't be erected in November. And he's going to be on the town council.
November will be here before we know it. I think qualifying period comes up fairly quickly. I mean, I don't remember exactly when it is. It's changed now, so I don't know exactly when the qualifying period, but we'll know who the candidates are well in advance of the November election, and there'll be debates. I'm sure there'll be people knocking on doors. There'll be people, if you want that seat, you got to work hard for it. And I thought all 3 of these candidates worked hard for it. Whether they were on the LPA, whether they were knocking on doors, or they're having charrettes, whatever they were doing what they had to do to make sure they talked to the most people or do their homework. And we'll see what November brings. But right now we've got 5 people that are going to continue to move forward until then.
Man, it's so nice watching the United States get a gold medal. And
yeah, it's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Very nice. That goaltender, if it wasn't for that goaltender today, the score would have been 5-1 or whatever.
Yeah, he was
never would have
on
won.
his head. He was standing on his head.
And then I find out from Ed Schoonover, who, by the way, I won $100 from because he didn't know the rules of the Olympics, that this goaltender is from Winnipeg. Is he from Winnipeg, that goaltender? He plays for Winnipeg. That's what I mean.
I think
Winnipeg
I would ask
Jets.
for at least a 50% refund, because the only reason the host here knew the answers because they actually said it on TV.
Yeah, I read it. He said he cleaned.
They were going to resurface the ice.
He got 2 $50 frisbees out of that deal.
Meanwhile, we're giving them away free to kids. He paid $50 each for them.
That's all right. Dog toys.
Man.
Dog toys.
So the only other thing I wanted to add to that was, do you believe that London Bay delayed their presentation to the LPA, waiting to see who got on the council?
That'd be a question for Mark Wilson and his team. I don't know.
But if you're a betting man,
I know there's
He's
been a
not
lot
betting.
I know there's been a lot of back and forth between their team and the staff on information and what they're asking for and clarity with the project. So I don't know. I can't speak for Mark as to why theirs has or hasn't come forward. But I know there's still been a lot of discussion between staff and their team on specifics. So you can ask Mark that question.
Well, I mean, Mark Wilson is doing cartwheels that John McClain is now on the town council. And I don't mean that in a negative way. Obviously, I love John, and he looks at all the projects, on a case-by-case basis. He did vote yes for Seagate. He does have a different view of development on the island than Tom does. And I'm not saying Tom would vote no on London Bay.
I think it's important that, a lot of people say that a candidate, based on their conversation to this point, is going to vote a single way. The work hasn't even been done yet. You've got to let the people that are sitting in that, when you're sitting in that chair and you get access to all the information and talking with staff that you don't have if you're not on council or the LPA, once you get into that quasi-judicial hearing, you will hear things that nobody has heard yet. And I can tell you there's been times when you go into it and you have all these questions that you want to ask, and then based on the testimony you hear, that sparks a different direction, or a different question. And you really don't. I think a good candidate is one that you do what you're supposed to do. You go into it with an open mind and you listen to both sides. You listen to all sides, and then you make what you believe the decision is and best how
You know,
relates to
the
the comp
thing
plan
that's
land
going to be
development code.
interesting for the island is obviously the Seagate issue was because not only was it 17 stories, but it was in around a residential neighborhood. So I
Right.
think that freaked people out. Now you have a completely different animal. You have a 15-story building down by bigger buildings.
But there are bigger buildings.
Yes, that's
down
what I mean.
there.
That's
Yeah.
what I just said. Down by
know,
bigger
but-
buildings.
Right. It's not that it was, I don't think it was that Seagate so much that it was 17 because it was one or two above the biggest building. It's that it was in a residential
Yeah,
area.
that's what I
But
mean.
This is in a different area.
Right. There's some residential on the other side of Estero Boulevard, but it is around bigger buildings. So if you're all going to be consistent, the answer should be flat out no. I mean, that's what, if you're all going to be not, I mean, well, yeah, if you're going to be consistent, I'm not asking you to say what your vote would be, but it is what it is. I mean, the height is the height. This island is allergic to heights. It's been that way since 1996. And so how does Mark fit that round peg into a square hole? I'm not even I'm not trying to ask you to answer that, but it is like, it's almost like two islands. Once you turn that corner and you start seeing the bigger buildings, it's different than it is in a residential neighborhood. That's the challenge.
Well, I think what's important is paying attention, right? What gets proposed and then goes to your LPA isn't always exactly what ends up at the council.
True.
Right? Through discussions with the LPA and public input, plans change usually by the time they get to the council. Things get changed based on a recommendation. And then from the first hearing to potentially the second hearing, things change. So the project that you originally see before it comes before the LPA most times changes a little bit. So it's hard to say what it'll look like. We don't know. Only Mark and his team know exactly what's going to come.
Right.
But are there areas on the beach where more height should be okay? Or, what you hear is 3 above flood, 4 above flood across the whole island.
Well, I think what's important is how you relate it to the comp plan and the land development code, right? Does it align with that? Does it align with the public benefit? Does the public think it's public benefit? There's a lot of factors that go into it. Not necessarily where it is on the island, as opposed to does it meet the requirements that you have to approve it? And I think you get a lot of that from public comment. We'll see what the public comment is for this project when and if it ever comes forward.
Yeah.
But
so the thing that's interesting to me is I think people on the south end think that outrigger, that little dinky outrigger that they're going to create, or whatever that tiki thing is, they are yearning for that on the south end. Like I don't think they care about the height as much as they want to be able to walk to that little outrigger thing, whatever it is that Mark's allowed to create on the beach. So they're able to sit and have a couple of drinks and maybe some food right on the beach. And whatever is going on behind them, that's different than what you see at Seagate, but that's not consistent in any way. Those two things are not consistent in any way with the comp plan or the LDC. It either is or it isn't, but that's not the way it works on Fort Myers Beach. It's all blah, 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 until, you know what I'm saying? Some people think a restaurant is public benefit, but other people don't think it's public benefit.
Well, I think just getting approval of a restaurant is not, to me, public benefit. The actual execution of a restaurant could potentially be, but once the approvals happen, the town really doesn't have any say in when it happens. It then, once the entitlements are given, it falls in the hands. I mean, just look at the Beach Theater, for instance. The Beach Theater has an approval to have a restaurant and have a setup, yet it hasn't moved forward at all. It has nothing to do with the town. The approvals have been given, so there should or could be a restaurant already open based on that approval, but it's not happening. So, as I said on your show a couple of weeks ago, at some point, when does it start falling back on the development world, saying, listen, you've had this approval, and now you're saying because the money isn't right, or because the economics aren't right, or because of this or that and the other thing, you're not moving forward with the public benefit that you promised to get those entitlements. To me, that's where I think we need to really focus on these projects that have been approved, that we've all voted on, whether you voted for it or against it. You said you were going to do some public benefit, and now it could be a decade. I think people need to be realistic. Even if you get approvals, you're looking at a minimum of 5 years on some of these large projects to come to fruition. That's a long time. It's not like if an approval happens, you're going to have a restaurant or a public restroom tomorrow. You're going to have it when they get, if it's condos, 50% of them sold before they come out of the ground, or if it's a hotel, until the hotel is built. So there's a lot of things that go into it. But, we went down the line of all the projects that the town of Fort Myers Beach has approved since the storm. We did forget one, a very important one. I think that's the goods. We didn't mention the goods when we were going down.
Mm-hmm.
All these projects that have been approved and are moving, some are moving forward, some are going nowhere. And I think it's important that we say, listen, we put our trust in you by giving these approvals. You put your trust in us by giving us the public benefit. This is a team. You want to be part of the community? Let's get this teamwork going. Let's start to see some of this stuff happen. So that's why I said I always cringe when people say we're not moving fast enough. Well, I think we've made quite a few approvals in the last 3 years, and right now it's not in our hands.
Do you think public benefit, I mean, it's such a nebulous term. Is it just exclusively benefit to the public, but like a restaurant is benefit to the owner or to the person?
Here's what I've always had an issue with public benefit of a restaurant. Is it important to have restaurants at certain locations on the island? Absolutely. And I think the more we can spread those out, whether it's coffee shops, things like that, as we've talked about, I think that's important because then it promotes walkability, bikeability, all the things that we want, get people out of their cars, right, to hopefully help with traffic and spread it out so people don't have to sit in traffic for an hour to go to the north end to eat or vice versa, go to the south end and then sit in traffic to go back north. So I think they're important. But again, there's no guarantees. There's no guarantees that just because you open a restaurant that it's going to be successful, that it's going to have good food, that people are going to want to go there, that the ambiance is there. And now you open a restaurant, it fails, and now you close and it sits a dormant space. Will that happen on the island? Probably not, but it could.
So Dan, let me ask you this:
bathrooms are a public benefit.
Well,
walking to the beach, parking I think, is a public benefit.
To your point, about restaurant, different sections of the island. The people that live in those areas are going to tell you what they feel is public benefit. Yeah. And what is public benefit today, as we saw with Hurricane Ian, may not be public benefit tomorrow, right? So you never know what the public benefit is. That's why I've never been a proponent of putting out A, B, C, D. You get this for this or this for that. To me, that doesn't make sense in my mind. I know in some people's minds it does. But I think where public benefit, where you really truly will see a public benefit is if you're building within an area and you meet with the people that are most affected by whatever that development is, and they tell you, we want to see you do something, and here's but we wish it would look like this, or we think this would be very important to us being in the neighborhood, and we can sign off on it. I think if a developer doesn't do that, they're doing themselves a disjustice because whatever you're doing, whether it's a residential, if you don't have your neighbors on your side, you're not going to probably get the entire community on your side because they're the ones that are going to deal with it the most.
Yeah. I think a
school would be.
Yeah.
There's a lot of public benefit,
right?
I think.
School.
Yeah.
Can I tell you how good this heating pad feels on my sciatica right now? I mean, God.
No, but I think you're going to.
Wow. Anyway,
I really hope. Never mind.
Does he carry that with him everywhere?
He does, and he makes me make. Well, he doesn't make.
No, I drive down here.
Got a big
I'm
ice
surprised
pack.
you could figure out how to make that thing work. You can't even put a chair together.
I drive down here and I sit on a big bag of ice.
Yeah.
Naked, if you wanted to know the truth.
Sure. No
and
wonder
then
the Barbie truck.
I'm not going to sit naked here while people are eating. So the question about the restaurant that I have for you, Dan, is so restaurant has somehow got into the public benefit domain. Like, how is that fair to the other restaurants that are building restaurants to be restaurants, and then all of a sudden restaurant is being brought into the public domain or the public benefit as a competitor to somebody who is actually building a restaurant? It just doesn't seem to make any sense to me that that's public benefit.
Well,
give them all a tax break.
Yeah, they're not. These guys aren't getting anything. But you're saying that
I don't know. If you look, it was pretty busy in here today. I think they're benefiting pretty
well. They should have the Olympic gold medal round every Sunday. Then the place will be packed. Yeah. That's a thing there's nothing in the LDC or the comprehensive plan that makes any reference to a restaurant.
I think what sets us apart from a lot of barrier islands is people come to Fort Myers Beach, one, because we've got a beautiful beach first, right? People come here for the beach. And then they come here for the ambiance. People that come here are people that like to sit on the beach, but they also like to go out and do things. Not every barrier island has that. Some barrier islands, they have a nice beach, but at 8 o'clock, the carpets roll up or the sidewalks roll up and there's nothing for anybody to do. Fort Myers Beach is different and unique in that way. We have a very eclectic group of people that come here, whether you're a server that lives on the island or a dishwasher that lives on the island, or you flew in with your own private jet to go to your second home. We have a whole gamut of people that live on this island, but everybody loves the same thing. They like to get out and do things like this and talk to people. This is one of the only places I think where you could literally be walking down the street and talk to anyone from senior staff or any one of the council members on any given day and view your grievances or say you're doing a good job, or we hate this, but can you help us with that? Not very many places you
All
have
right.
that access.
I have no idea how that answers my question, but it was lovely. It was lovely what you just said. So let me say this. So now I forgot what I was going to say.
It's that heating pad.
Yeah, it's
It's
going to
sucking
your brain.
cells,
going to
which
your
are
brain.
few and far between. But we're
I
trying
had
to
a
hold
really
on
good
to it.
question, but you were rambling on about something so nice that I
About
completely
public benefit.
forgot what it
About
was.
a restaurant.
No, all right. Well, let me ask you about this, and so maybe my memory will kick back in. There's the helicopter guy turned off his transponder, and it's
You said you weren't going to bring it up.
I
You're
stopped
so
posting
tired
about
of
it. I
hearing about
actually I have to be honest with you guys. I'm tired of hearing the complaints about the helicopter. So that's why I've stopped posting about it. I mean, I don't know what you want anybody to do. Is the guy following rules? That's what I want to ask you.
I haven't heard that he has not met all the requirements that he's supposed to meet to be able to do what he's doing. But I mean, until I do,
Right.
Have you been on the beach when it's flown over?
I haven't been on the beach. I have not went and sat actually on the beach and watched a sunset with my wife in probably well over a year.
Yeah. Well, you should do that because
So you
she's
haven't,
yeah,
you
yeah,
haven't been
I
around
will.
when it's flown over.
I have not. But
But
I
do
mean,
you
I
realize?
have seen it. I haven't seen it flying over or a helicopter fly
So-
over. But
Right.
So, but
right.
my question when people
It's
see
a
that is,
helicopter is a good point. 'Cause you
how
don't
is that
know.
really ruining your day? I mean, you're sitting on the beach, you're looking at the water, you're having a great time.
Dear, if it goes back and forth and back and forth,
God, you got to be kidding
it's
me.
annoying.
All right, there's a lot of things that are annoying.
I
was
don't
sitting.
live here, and it would be annoying.
I
to
was
me.
sitting in my
well, if you remember,
backyard.
not too long ago, some residents on the island were very. They were not pleased with the pattern of the flight of the airplanes. Coming in and out of.
Yes,
I can
RSW.
almost set my watch to it certain times of the day at 5:15 in the morning when the dogs are out. There's a plane flying right overhead, right over your house.
Did
and,
it get changed?
No, it did, but it didn't. I mean, it just depends on the wind patterns and which way they're landing and taking off. But,
So I was sitting out in the backyard yesterday, and I was trying to enjoy something on Netflix, and a plane flew over my house, and I was
Dear,
like, God,
we
so
live,
annoying. I don't know, what can I do? Can I call somebody and say stop flying?
We live by the airport. We chose to live there,
I'm
and
just
they
saying.
don't fly over that.
For
much.
all the things you can complain about. I mean, come on. You're sitting on the beach looking out at a lovely expanded beach. and
then
a
you're getting
helicopter
your
flies
ears
over,
blown
and
off
so-
by a helicopter.
Poor baby. That's all I'm saying. It's like come on already. There's enough to complain about. It's not like you're
tell you
getting
what,
shot in the
I'm-
ankle or something.
I'm looking. I'm looking forward to the days getting longer so that I can actually go out and enjoy the beach.
Yeah, no kidding.
And sit down and
Speaking of the beach,
Well,
watch a
bring your
sunset.
headphones.
the real question I have is, who the hell pays $100 for an 8-minute helicopter ride? I mean, what do you want to see? What are you looking at? Like, what
Maybe
is?
real estate. Maybe you're looking at real estate.
All right, that's a good answer, but I mean, they're flying.
Well, you remember right after the storm, there was a lot of fancy private helicopters that were flying overhead. One, probably to look at the devastation, and two, to probably look at land. I mean, some people do fly over just to look to see what property's there and what it looks like. From the
Okay,
sky.
fair enough.
I know, but there was a lot of, after the storm, and
If you want to look at devastation,
I'm speak. This is what's been told to me because I didn't live here. I didn't suffer this. Full disclosure. But there are people who really suffered a lot from the noise of the helicopters that flew over after the storm. It was, very disturbing to them. And so it's a triggering event.
We had an issue with drones flying over our house right.
well,
after
that's
this.
different because it's the
Yeah.
government spying on you. And
I don't know. who
Oh
it
my
was.
God. So I'm just going to digress here.
Megan's between that and the iguanas. Megan's like, you need to get me a pellet gun. I'm like, oh yeah, that's exactly what I need. We got a. Oh yeah. Can you imagine an iguana running across our seawall? And Megan, who I love dearly, but
Well, you should. She's your wife.
Well, but riding a bike sometimes is challenging for her. Can you imagine giving her a weapon, even though it's a pellet gun? I could see her shooting.
Oh, a pellet gun.
pellet
I
gun.
thought you said a pelican.
No, a pellet gun.
Do you have a pelican as a pet?
Yeah, no, we don't. But
Do you have a prairie
I
dog?
could just already see the headline. Megan's out there with this big green iguana, which is running across our seawall, and she shoots it, and it ricochets off the top. Because this is my luck.
And
It'll
comes back
ricochet
and
out,
hit
and it'll
them.
go through someone's window and take out somebody's
There
eye,
you
and it'll be
go.
the mayor's wife takes out an eye trying to kill an iguana. Like, this is all I need. You're not
You know,
getting a
here's
pellet
if
gun,
you want to
Megan.
see the beach, rent a bike. Rent a bike. It doesn't cost $100. You can ride from Bowditch to the. You can now ride your bike from one end of the.
Yeah.
On the beach or on the.
Well, listen.
Give Island
if-
Carts a call. We got all kinds of them.
There you go.
you're-
Free
if
plug
you're-
right there.
In the Grand Canyon, and you want to take a helicopter ride up in the Grand Canyon, okay, there's something to see.
Yeah. What are you going
What
to
are you
see?
looking at here?
That's the thing.
I got to tell the story about the last helicopter ride I've ever been on. It kind of ties into hockey. So a friend of mine and I, he did 3 tours in Vietnam, we were over in Finland watching his son play hockey. And we decided to take a helicopter ride over to Estonia to check it out because the head coach, who was a Finnish coach of the team, said, you got to go check it out. So we go to get in this helicopter, which is similar to like a medical helicopter. So you could either take the ferry or you could take the helicopter. We chose to take the helicopter because it was faster. So we get in, fly over, everything's fine. We get in to fly back. And these 3 gentlemen who sounded like they were speaking Russian all had scars. One had a scar from here to here on his face, right across his nose. And they were hammered coming back from Estonia. I mean, when I say hammered, so it's just the 5 of us sitting in the helicopter. And these were not small guys. So my buddy Bob, being a former Marine, he's looking around, he's taking inventory. And that's how I got my nickname Swede. He always called me Swede. So I got the nickname Swede. So we're up there, and he's looking at me. He's like, Swede.
I'm not calling him sweet, no matter.
Yeah, he's
what.
like Swede. He goes,
I'm calling
you look like you
salty.
could probably get 2 of them. I know I can get 1.5. They kick up. We're throwing them out of this helicopter. And I thought, oh God, here we go, Bob. They slept the whole time. There was no issue. But that's the last time I was on a helicopter.
There goes the audience right there.
Speaking, well, they want to hear about your sciatica and your heat pad. Yeah.
No,
You know,
let me just have a minute here about the drone thing. So we got new homeowners insurance because we want our homeowners insurance went through the roof. So we researched it out. We had some great help. We got a new company.
Yeah, state insurance. We call it state insurance.
1 month later, I get a note that says, we're canceling your policy because of your roof. I said, wait a minute. Whoa, wait. I had a wind mitigation report. Everything was okay. I said, we'll fix whatever we need to fix because I don't want to lose my insurance. So our son-in-law, Resolute Roofing, great company, came out, fixed everything on the roof, sent the report in. The next day, I get the check back. They're done. They're out. And that's the kind of crap that you're dealing with.
Yeah, it's all a scam. The insurance company.
So now we have 1 month, one gracious month to find a new insurance company. And they let we still have a mortgage on our house, unfortunately. So they let them know, but this is the kind of shit that you're dealing with in Florida.
So, I think would be really.
This is a bunch of crap, Tower Hill. This is a bunch of crap.
Name dropping even. If there was one sport I would love to try in the Olympics, I'm watching this bobsledding thing. Wouldn't that be fun?
I would like to
Just
see
ride
you
on-
in a
just to
bobsled.
ride
Dan.
on
I thought
the
you were going to
bobsled?
say we're gonna like shot put insurance companies.
The skeleton.
Maybe we should put them in the bobsled.
The
without
skeleton
brakes.
thing is like, what is your diet on a skeleton? When you're on the skeleton team, what do you think your diet is? Like,
Wait a
they're
minute.
so
Wait a minute. And do you know how that happened?
what?
They came out to the house unannounced and took either a drone
Yeah,
pictures
yeah.
or just let me know you're coming, baby. Just let me know you're coming.
All right,
I
you
will
better
fix it.
relax. You're getting a little crazy
It's the
today.
one thing I take care of in the house, and
Yeah.
it went to crap.
So, Dan, let me ask you about the.
Wait, did you admit you failed?
Oh,
No. They failed
they
us.
Oh,
So, Dan, let me ask you a couple other issues.
All right,
The
let's do
elevation grants, the FEMA elevation grants. In case you didn't know it, Dan, Hurricane Ian is over 3
Sure.
years away, and people are still sitting waiting for grant money from FDEM and FEMA. I don't even know who it is anymore.
it's a FEMA grant.
Go
but
ahead.
it has to go through the town. It has to go through, the town has got the first initial part of it. Then it goes through FDM, working with FEMA, and then it goes to FEMA for the ultimate approval. So
Careful, waving.
those grants, my understanding last I saw the email was somewhere in that mix between final things from FDM to then go for final approval to FEMA.
Can you believe we're where we are right
Do
now
you
with
think
that?
that's going to happen? Do you think it's going to happen?
What's
Do you
your
think
advice?
anybody's going to get anything?
I think you talk about insurance companies, and it seems like the model for insurance companies in FEMA is to drag it on as long as possible to get the least amount of payout, right? You kind of like when someone has to issue a recall in the auto world, the bean counters come in and they look at here's what it's
You said
gonna cost.
recall, and his ears went, what?
Well, but I mean, it's kind of, to me, it seems like that. I don't know if that's how it is, but the longer it takes, the more people get tired of waiting and they just move on, or they don't want to go through I was talking with a resident the other day who was going through the SBA and trying to do all of this. And because of a technicality from their wife being at the time the paperwork was submitted, she wasn't a U.S. citizen. Well, it's taken so long, she has now become a U.S. citizen. So they asked for this person's green card, and they gave them the citizenship, and it got kicked out of the whole entire process because of that technicality. Now they got to start all over again.
I mean,
so that's the kind of thinking that doesn't make sense to me. I mean, if someone sends you an email and says, well, this person no longer has a green card, they're a U.S. citizen. Okay, show us proof of citizenship and let's move on. Instead of they have to start all over again.
Yeah. They should let the U.S. hockey team run FEMA. I mean,
still go to
it couldn't
overtime.
be.
It's still
Listen, I'm all for.
My ass is on fire right now.
I'm all
Holy
for
Christ.
the property tax.
Wow.
Property taxes
Thing
going
is
away.
hot.
But I would give up. I would continue to pay my property tax if the legislature would fix or do something about the insurance, folks, because that would be a benefit that we could all.
So let me
appreciate.
ask what's remaining of the audience, and thank you all we have over 100 people watching. We have a decent sized audience, even though we're way off kilter here. If you had a chance to vote on property taxes going away, if you were a homesteaded property, by a round of applause, would you vote yes or no? Yes. Would you vote yes? Would you vote no? Interesting. Interesting.
Would you vote for insurance reform?
Oh, that's a no-brainer, dear. I mean, my thing is, if I don't understand how there would ever make up for the money if the bill that passed the House goes through and the governor signs it. But I'm voting yes for it just because that's $3,000 we're saving. And you guys can figure it out on the backside somehow. Right? And you're going to have to.
But services, not so much the Cape. They're woof.
The Cape,
But
Lee
here-
County, everybody
Well,
will suffer.
I think, the important part is nothing's ever free, right? So if you're taking something away, it's got to be made up from somewhere else. And in the business that I'm in,
sales tax.
well,
is what
people
you're
talk
looking
about
at.
0% interest all the time. 0% interest looks great, right? Nothing's ever free. A bank is not giving you free money. Somebody's paying for it. Either you're paying more for the cost of the goods, or the people selling it to you are eating it and just making it look like you're getting. Somebody is paying for it. It's not free. And I think the same goes with property taxes. If that money goes away, it's going to be made up somewhere else. We don't know what that looks like yet. And I think the devil's in the details, but on paper, it's like 0% interest. Everything looks great.
There's not
I'm
a
getting
lot
0%
of options
interest.
for them to make
But if
it
you
up,
look
though.
at the, usually whenever I use car analogy, because that's what most people will look at, you can get $3,500 discount or rebate on your vehicle, or you can get 0% interest. Most people take 0% interest, but if you have excellent credit, you're actually costing yourself money versus taking the rebate.
It was so funny because in Cape Coral, I heard from somebody that the Florida League of Cities actually thinks that if this goes to it has to go to a referendum for the voters to vote on it, that it's not going to pass. And I looked at him and I said, are you smoking some kind of crack? Because if something goes to a referendum where the voters get a chance to do away with property taxes, you don't think that's going to pass overwhelmingly? You're crazy. It will pass overwhelmingly. Just like on Fort Myers Beach, if they ever went to a referendum to say that council members and LPM members could not meet privately with developers, it would pass overwhelmingly. They would never do it, though. They would never put it on a referendum. But the people that are in an elected position think that wouldn't pass. They're nuts. It would pass in an unbelievable way, like you've never seen before.
I think what would be an interesting number to look at based on what you're saying is how many registered voters there are and how many of them are actually have homesteaded property here in the state of Florida. You can be, it'd be interesting to see what that dynamic is when it comes to numbers.
But do you agree with me that would pass?
I think it would depend on those numbers. I would want to see, you could have 70% of, and I don't know the numbers, I'm just guessing, but say you had 70% residents that aren't homesteaded. Well, are they going to vote? I mean, they don't gain anything by it. So what would be the benefit of them?
But do you think they'd vote against it?
I don't know. Again, that's the devil in the details. Where is that makeup coming from?
That's the thing. They need to say, hey, here's the vote. You can vote to abolish property tax, but here's what's going to happen. Without knowing what's going to happen, voting for it, that's
you see, I think
Russian
most people
roulette.
that go into the voting booth think that there's waste in government, and they would vote for that because if they felt like it was going to lower their taxes, and that would be an education process along the way until you get to that referendum, and half of it would probably be lies.
And I agree with the notion of, if you work your life to pay for your home and you own your home and it's homesteaded, what else do you own, whether it's a car or a boat that you've paid for and own outright that you have to continue other than the usage tax, which you still do. I mean, if you drive your car,
do you have a shoulder problem?
If you drive
or
your
a
car,
question?
you still have to pay a fee to drive it on the road. But
Do you have a question, Mr. Hotka?
Or a comment? Yeah, what do you got?
It depends on where they're registered to vote.
I'm not homesteaded here, and I'm a registered voter.
Wherever you can register to vote, he just doesn't benefit from it, right?
If you're a Florida resident and you can vote in the state of Florida,
you just won't benefit.
You don't have to be homesteaded to do that. How many people live in apartment buildings that are registered voters that aren't homesteaded? That's why I said it'd be important to see the numbers based on how many registered voters are actually homesteaded voters. I don't know if you could find that.
And here's what the ballot should say: do you want your taxes lower, or do you want your taxes higher? And that would be the end of it, because
it's going to be higher somewhere. Because if you say your sales tax is going to go up 12%, I guarantee you those renters are going to be like,
you're going to pay for it somewhere.
Not everybody is. Yes, right. Somebody is going to pay for it.
Somewhere, somehow, somebody's going to pay for that loss.
So Dan,
it doesn't just go away.
There was I got a tip.
Or the services are going to go away.
Can I ask a question,
Very
wife?
possible.
No.
I got a tip that there was some copper being stolen from the lighting stanchions, and then all of a sudden it was on. I think it was Gulf Coast News. But what's going on with that?
Yeah, well, it's been replaced. Yeah, I don't know who stole it. I don't know if we have.
It's been replaced with copper.
It's been in our call on Friday. Pretty much every pole's installed. All the lights are up. They expect to be substantially done in the next 2 weeks, meaning all poles up, all lights up. Doesn't mean they're all going to be on, but I think you've noticed certain sections of the island are starting to come on. And that's as FPL is now going behind them and putting the meters in and energizing the load centers is when you're going to see all the lights on. So hopefully very soon we'll see every light on.
Now that's a hat right there, dude. You got the hat going on right there.
He's got something. He's mission fishing lures hanging off the side of it. I could see. He looks like a guy that would go do, what do they call that where you go fish? Noodling? Where you put your arm down in the fish's mouth. He looks like a guy that would be a noodler.
A what? I never even heard of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you put your hand down in, and the catfish comes up and bites.
And then they bite your arm, and then you pull them up.
Do you have bait in your hand?
No. I believe they call it noodling. He looks like a noodler.
Yeah.
Wow. Learn something noodle every day.
Or he wrestles alligators, one or the other.
Yeah, he looks like an alligator.
So, Dan, if you had to choose between a coyote and a turtle,
an owl,
which one would you choose? Like, if a turtle, would you shoot a coyote if you knew the coyote was eating the turtle nesting eggs? If you saw it right out there in front of you.
I'm from Minnesota, where it's very big hunting.
Yeah.
And coyotes are they eat deer, they eat all kinds of things. They eat your livestock. They're not very nice animals.
No.
So, where I come from, coyotes are not your friend, and they tend to meet the wrong side of a rifle if they get within shooting range.
Yeah. Okay, I got you. You're with the turtles and against the coyotes.
I'm not with or against anything. I'm just telling you how I grew up.
That's a politician right there. I'm not with or against anything. I'm just going to sit right on the fence right here. So you were in the parade.
I think what's more concerning is why are you starting to see some of these things moving into areas? As we continue to build and push into the Everglades, you're going to start to see these animals try to find food. They're going to try to find habitat.
Well, I mean, a coyote must have jumped onto a vehicle to get over to Sanibel.
Yeah, they're
because
really
they got a lot
struggling in
over there.
Sanibel with the
Yeah.
coyotes eating the eggs. That's why I bring it up. So you were in the parade last night, the Edison Festival of Lights last night.
Yeah.
Can I just say one thing before we talk about the parade? My wife was in the 5K. They have like 700 people that run in that 5K race. They run and walk, and they've decided at some point along the way not to give out any medals. Now, I don't think everybody that participates in a race should get a medal, but if you're in a race
They do now.
if you're in a race with 700 people and you're in the top 3 in your age, you should get a medal. I mean, I've run races. I've organized races. It's $1,000 to buy medals. That's how much we've bought nice medals for our races for the charities.
Oh, listen
It's
to you.
$1,000, and we
sour
don't ever
grapes.
have 700 runners paying $35. They decided not to give any medals to any of the winners. And of course, I didn't run because of my sciatica, but she came in second place in her age. And they're like, well, yeah, where are the medal? When's the presentation? They're like, well, you got a T-shirt. Well, everybody got a T-shirt. It's like, what the hell? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. One of the biggest races of the year, and they don't give out medals. That guy that came across the finish line must have run it in like 15 minutes. He and he wasn't even breathing heavy. Like you can run a 5K.
Well,
Which
well,
is
in
like
minutes.
a
I was just gonna
5-minute mile.
Yeah.
I just want to.
Can you imagine that?
I mean, I know it's hard to
Yes.
tell, but I've decided to take a little break from running 5Ks, so I wasn't in that one. But
To be
but I
honest
was
with you,
there.
I turned around and Dan was in the VIP section.
I was cheering everybody on. Go team. Yeah. Woo. I mean, I was there for moral support, but I don't have a sciatica, but I had a bum foot.
Oh,
So,
yes.
That's why I couldn't.
You
got to
tell the story about the generator.
Oh yeah, yeah. So, well, first I want to say kudos to the Fort Myers Police Department. Those guys and gals did an excellent job. I mean, they were regimented. They had roads closed. I mean, we pulled in. We were told to be there by 4:00. 3:55. We get ready to pull in, and literally from here to that back wall away from where we need to park. And those guys were not having it. They're like, I said, I was told to be here by 4:00, and he looked right at me and said, "Sir, someone didn't tell you the truth because you had to be here by 3:30." So of course now I'm trying to call everybody saying, "Listen, you told me 4, blah blah blah." Long story short, we got in, but these guys were doing their job, right? They were doing what they were told to do. And then Holly, I wish I could remember Holly's last name. She's going to be the incoming president of the Edison Lights. I wish I could remember her name. What a sweet lady. So she comes by in a golf cart and takes us because we had to be there by 4. It doesn't start till 7. That's 3 hours of just, you can walk. We walked around and we looked at all the floats because when you're doing the dignitary thing and you're riding and you don't get to see the entire parade because you're usually at the beginning. So we got to see a lot of that. So she gave us a ride over to the VIP area. But what Ed is alluding to is before that, we took our Roxor. If you don't know what a Roxor is, it looks like a CJ7 Jeep. And we had it decked out with lights. And yesterday morning, I'm rushing to get undercarriage lights mounted on it. And because, my wife, if you don't know my wife, she likes blinky things. She's a parade person. So I put a bunch of blinky things underneath the Jeep and mounted, and so we get that ready to go yesterday morning. And then we put a nice FMB sign on the front. And so we put these big 2 speakers that anybody's ever seen us in a parade. We always have these big speakers. So we're dialed in. We're ready to go. We're going to leave the cart shack, and I'm locking the door, and the friggin' door breaks. The lock breaks. So now we're scrambling to try to get there by 4:00. I'm like, what do we do now? So we figured out a solution. But in the meantime, the power source, the jackery that we use to power these speakers, I set on one of the seats of the golf cart. And we were in such a hurry to get out of there, I left the power source for the music sitting on one of the seats inside the building for the golf course. So we get there, and I'm scrambling around trying to find. I'm talking to the fire department. I'm talking to the police. I'm talking to anybody that maybe has some source. I'm calling Extreme Excavating, who is one of the big sponsors there. I'm talking to them. And I talked to our fire department who's out there. Like, we had brought the big truck. We could have helped you out. We don't have anything, blah, blah. Long story longer, it all worked out because we had a really great band right directly behind us. So we got to listen to them play the entire time. And I would have felt horrible if I'd have been playing loud music. It would have drowned them out. So it all worked out the way it was supposed to work out.
Nice. And it was a great time. They always do a great job down there.
There was a lot of people.
And the thing that
we did get yelled at a lot. We didn't know that you're not supposed to throw things. I've never been in a parade where you don't get to put hand thing, no candy. So I've got this Nerf gun thing that had these, the duckies you see on the Jeeps.
Right.
And it's just a little $22 thing. and it launches these little duckies. So I was shooting them in the air. We made it about halfway through the parade before we got scolded. Like, you can't be shooting things into the audience because a kid could come running out or whatever.
Did Marcino yell at you? Is that what it was?
No, it was a parade people. I mean, they were very regimented. They've been doing this a long time. So then we started just, throwing stuff out the side of the rocks to the kids and candy, and we were told you can't do that, and we're like, okay, I can
breaking the rules.
So when we got into downtown, people are like literally from me to you away. They're within 2 or 3 feet of you. So when you toss something out, they're right there. They're catching it.
Yeah.
Well, when we made the corner where we saw you guys at the VIP area to turn to go past where like the media and all that was, the same Holly comes up and the look on her face, whoo, she was mad. She gave me the business. She's like, you need to stop. They're like, yes, ma'am.
Oh, God.
Sorry. So we couldn't throw out the rest. So anybody that saw us the rest of the way, we're sorry we couldn't throw anything after that. But
yeah, there'll be plenty of candy at City Hall starting Tuesday.
The Fort Myers police, when we got there, they had one road blocked off. And they must have a microphone from their car because somebody.
Oh, yeah. They were
so
not
they
happy.
got the road closed off. And somebody's insisting on getting down there, and you can hear way down the street from
pull
the
over
inside
and
of
roll
the
your
police
window
car.
down before I shoot you in the ankle,
Yes.
MFer.
And
No, he was crazy.
Pull over and roll down your window.
And the other
roll down your window.
Yeah.
It's like
the other thing
they
too
were not
is
messing around.
how much do you need?
Now, unfortunately, they have to put the garbage trucks at all the intersections because people. We saw at a race somewhere in Florida, somebody wasn't paying attention.
Yep.
There was a race going on, and the car came through the barricade and killed somebody that was running. And so they got to have these garbage trucks, and the police are always on edge when they have to block off the roads because you never know what's going on. It's so stressful for them, and I know LCSO has said that about because. Even when we do the little parades here, they're not very long, but there are so many side streets that they have to be aware of.
Well, and people are, they're in such a hurry. They don't care that a parade's going on. But again, I think Fort Myers Police did an excellent job yesterday for that. And it was, if you haven't had a chance to go see the Edison Parade of Lights, it's really a fun event. And some of the floats are really cool. And
it's you got to get there early.
Yeah. And once you're there, boy.
You're there.
We parked about 10 blocks away so we could leave.
I would recommend because it's kind of a whole weekend event.
Thank you, Bill Smith.
Get a hotel room out there and spend the night, and then you can just walk back to your hotel room because there's a lot of things to do. But
so we have a lot of things on the beach. We have next weekend is the book sale. Then we have the Shrimp Festival.
Yep.
March 7th, and then the St. Patrick's Day Parade is coming up. So a lot of stuff going on. Did we miss anything? I mean, I know we're running long or boring you guys. So anything?
I think we
any updates that we missed?
No updates. That there's no real new information on anything other than I've already shared. But if you notice, we got some nice green grass now. Some nice
I
out
saw
in there.
that.
So the beautification of San Carlos Boulevard is still happening. So thank you to Will and the team for cleaning things up and making it look nice.
Got all your garbage cans up. People were complaining about that.
Well, doing a little bit. I think soon that the sterile refreshment is going to start happening from the county. That's going to start happening real soon. So things are happening. We're getting there.
All right. Big hand for the mayor of Fort Myers Beach, everybody. And others. We appreciate you guys hanging on. We had 100 people watching at the end of the show. It is 1 hour later than usual, so I hope you'll stick around so I can tell you about our great sponsors like the Islands Pancake House. I know they were broadcasting the game this morning, too. The Island Pancake House has a full liquor bar. They serve breakfast and lunch all day, 7:30 to 2 o'clock. It's all indoor seating. They have air conditioning when it's hot, free parking. The tram stops right there in the Seagrave Plaza, and they have gluten-free options. Because if you don't like gluten or if you have some problem with their gluten, you can get gluten-free options. The Islands Pancake House in the Seagrave Plaza. Also open in the Santini Plaza is the UPS store. They pack and ship. They guarantee they will pack and ship. Mailboxes available for rent with physical address. They're open 7 days a week in the Santini Plaza, the UPS store. They have a notary service, print services, and so mucho more. Give them a call, 239-747-6222. The UPS store, in the Santini Plaza. And also Oscar on the Gulf, where coastal real estate meets real expertise. They secure prime waterfront land to building resilient, equity-driven homes, and they list at max value. Oscar delivers results from start to finish. It's a streamlined approach, maximizing your savings. You should go online right now and check them out. Oscar, that's OZKR on thegulf.com, OZKR on thegulf.com, or call 239-406-7711. And don't forget, the 30th anniversary of Fort Myers Beach is coming up, and the date of that is, Dan, the 30th anniversary date. I can't hear a word he's saying. Will's watching, and he's going to be angry with me. But the 30th anniversary is coming up of Fort Myers Beach, and they're going to have like an art walk starting here at Bayside Park, and they're going to walk up to Times Square, and a lot of festivities going on for that. I know it's on a Friday, so Will, please put the date up on there. March 6th. Is that the date? Friday, March 6th. Thank you, Will. Friday, March 6th is the 30th anniversary. There will be cupcakes, everybody, because a anniversary without cupcakes on Fort Myers Beach is like no anniversary at all. So we'll see you. Thank you all for sticking around. Congratulations to the USA, and we'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.